fall colors. It makes me miss having 4 seasons. It really does. Not that I don't like living in California, but like the fall colors, they've done a wonderful job of all the different color schemes as you move through the different areas of Busan.
They certainly have. Busan's such a lovely map, but we haven't really seen very much of it played. Yeah. It wasn't in Overwatch League Season 1. It'll be really interesting to see how these teams work on it. There's a lot of long sight lines on this stage in particular. Looks like both teams opting for quite a bit of hit scan.
And here's the interesting thing about when new maps are introduced like this, often you'll find that some of these teams, they end up, you know, practicing a lot on it. They make it their pocket pick map in scenarios where it will come up. And some of these teams might not be as comfortable on it, like Shock. We saw it when Blizzard World was released into the map pool with a lot of these teams. Some teams really were a lot more practiced on it. Well, we'll see, Josh, you know, as these players are rolling out. Big rotations from both of them, you know, all the way just trying to work their way around, avoiding each other. Don't want to be getting into a head-on clash. Tends to happen with most control maps, but now here's the go button. The speed boost is met, and they immediately jump onto Sinatraa, and you can see they caught him out of position with the second one. The point will be theirs. Valiant win it cleanly.
Very cleanly. Valiant with the rotation around the right-hand side. They knew the positioning that they wanted to get for themselves. They forced San Francisco Shock away from where their spawn is on the opposite side onto the low ground, and it was an easy dive from there. Playing roughly similar compositions, though. Oh, actually, now massive switches from the San Francisco Shock. An interesting map, actually, to run triple tank, triple support.
Because of the sightlines, you think?
Because it's so open, in my opinion. There's a lot of ways that you can back off and disengage from this composition. So we'll have to see how Shock play it.
Well, let's find out now. They're going to start to try and brute force their way onto the point, getting in a lot of damage onto Fate, but he's healed back up, just waiting on top of the point. Going to be pressured off a little bit, but not for long. Just really just peppering them. Smurf moving forward. Now we see the Transcendence has been built up. Going to be using it to keep the rest of Valiant alive, but they are losing players left, right, and center. There you go. Doesn't matter how many ultimates you're going to be using here, because Shock have come out on top. Fate, though, still seems to think that this might be turnable. He's going to be using that Primal Rage just to get a little bit of extra cap points. Be jumping straight up into the air. Just taking control of this center podium. I don't know what that is. Is that a drum? My goodness, that's a large one. But okay, I'll roll with it. Anything's possible in the future, Josh. Remember that one always. And there you have it.
Fate with his Primal Rage managed to secure about another 10% there, roughly speaking.
Is that worth it? It's one of the most powerful ultimates in the game.
I agree, and I think that in general it wouldn't be, but it looks like they're making compositional switches. Fate's going to go over to the Reinhardt now, and they're going to end up playing a triple tank, triple support in order to counter what SF Shock is running.
Yeah, well, it seems a shock though. They've built up some ultimates now, and they're almost there when it comes to the Earth Shatter and the Graviton Surge. See them just trying to build it up as best as they possibly can, but Valiant still have a rally, and now Agilities is going to be using it to lead them in. They're going to have a bit of extra armor, just laying it on top of them. It's going to be very useful for KariV and Izayaki, but now going to be rolling forward. Smurf looking for anything he can get with this Earth Shatter. Only connects it onto the one target. And the Samurai is going to be keeping KariV nice and healthy, so that charge not even doing that much, not even taking the armor off of him. This fight's still anyone's game, the damage being done. They're just trying to focus down these targets, and it seems like Shock are coming out on top as they're focusing down the right players, and Fate gets no value out of that Earth Shatter. Laid it down, but he was killed just in the nick of time.
He certainly was. Sinatraa is doing outrageous damage with his Zarya. He's actually built up to a grav, used it. I couldn't see what happened to it. May have been eaten. It may have been the turning point in that fight while we were watching Smurf with the pin. But nevertheless, he's back up to another one already.
Madness.
He's at 81%. He is just vomiting out damage with the Zarya. He's so good with that hero. And it's a huge turning point. It's about one of the only heroes in this where it has carry potential.
Huge anti-nade forces Valiant all the way back. They cannot play into this, but they've been caught out of position now. Self-destruct into the back with the Graviton. Not good enough. Space gets 2 kills. babybay and Smurf gone out of the picture. Valiant happily going to be able to take back this point now as soon as they clean up the remaining members of Shock.
Sinatraa loses all of that charge there, but again, 32%. He got a great grab off, to be fair, but they read it. Space was up in the air, had his self-destruct, boom goes the dynamite, and 2 people have fallen from SF Shock.
Can't believe you just used that line. I've lost a lot of respect for you, to be honest, but we'll roll forward with it. KariV with the Graviton. This is going to be where the money's at. See if he can get any value. He needs to not get 8 as well. Let's see if they can do it. Nevix is keeping his eye onto him. Graviton Surge only connects onto the one, onto the main tank. If they can take him down, and indeed they do, great opening for them. Still, the point being capped up. Soundbarrier now used by Shock. Getting a couple of players on the point, stopping them. Nice Earth Shatter. Fate's going to be connecting it onto the one target. babybay gets pinned against the wall, made into mincemeat spaghetti bolognese. And there you have it. It will be 1 round. Going to Valiant. So you're shaking your head there, Josh. You didn't appreciate that reference.
No, I didn't.
I'm getting a bit peckish. I apologize.
You're mocking the words that I'm saying, and you come out with that one. Great play overall, I think, from the Valiant in that round. They were able to turn fights that didn't look like they had the advantage in. Yeah. I think Shock had a good idea coming out with the triple tank, triple support, but Valiant, again, were able to read it. And an excellent opening from them, showing that Busan, I think, was their pocket pick. And now they are only 1 stage away from claiming the California Cup.
1 stage, that's all it's going to take here. It's an interesting one as well.
Yeah.
This one facing down into the low ground. It's a bit of a tricky one to sometimes try and defend at some times, but
huge sightlines as well. Both teams, both teams were opting for a Widowmaker, and now they've switched away from it. Triple tank, triple support again coming out from the Valiant.
No, they're not. Valiant just going to be sticking with it and going to be rotating onto the point straight away. Now, the issue is it's going to be a little bit difficult for babybay to try and get any value out of Widow, and there you go. He switches off it. So, the point I was making, they move to the Farah. Valiant are playing very cautiously here, backwards and forwards, not really wanting to engage or hard commit too much. babybay is now in the fight once again on the Farah. This is a great pick now for what they're running. The environmental kills are, you know, they are there being so close to the edge, but the fight even as it stands. Agilities going down means it's an opening for either of these teams to try and take it in a 5v5, but now we're going to start to see the Resurrects being used as well. Sinatraa back up. The damage, it seems like Valiant a bit of a disadvantage when it comes to that. They're trying to disengage to a reasonable degree, but they do have the point. They've got it under control, then they're not able to focus down these players, and it looks like Shock are going to be able to recontest this and recap it.
Absolutely. It's not a great point to keep control of on the low ground, and there's nothing really that Valiant could do once they're stuck down there. You can't rotate up top because you're just out in the open. babybay honestly didn't get that much damage done. You would expect in the time that he's been on Farah, within 45 seconds, that he would have been able to get his ultimate up, but he was kind of pressured away. Thankfully, Sinatraa and the dives were able to get a lot more work done.
Well, he's going to see if he can get anything done with these rockets, but fortunately not quite getting too much value. Graviton Surge connects onto 2 of the targets there, onto Shock. Fate with the pin onto Smurf will bring him down. They've got the burst damage on top of it, but now Valiant's starting to get the bodies onto the point. No more kills rolling in for them, and it's even as it stands on the point, and I need to really stress this is do or die time for Shock. 1 round is all the difference right now between Valiant walking away with this first match here in the California Cup.
The interesting thing is that they cannot stop the Valiant from getting to the point. There's no open ground before you get to the point. They can just travel inside buildings the entire way. So Valiant are going to be able to flip the point almost every time. It's just how Shock collapse on them afterwards. And at the moment, in that fight, it didn't work out. Now Valiant have to be out in the open though. So this should offer some kind of opportunity for Shock to get in. Well, if babybay can get off a good barrage, it'll be all theirs.
They're trying to find something. babybay with a barrage. Going to get bubbled up as well, but it does not matter. The bubble is burst and Space gets 2 kills and the D-Mech onto Nevix. Wonderful stuff. The soundbarrier just for star points. Don't think it was necessary, Custa, but regardless of that one, Valiant, they win out the fight.
75% now as well for the LA Valiant. They're staring at that trophy. They know it's within reaching distance.
So
if they
close.
just hold on to this, they have it. And they will have made it 5-0 against the San Francisco Shock across the Overwatch League and now in the California Cup.
Initiation's coming in. This is it. The Graviton Surge by KariV. Needs to get value. Going to be using onto the one of them. Primal Rage and the Nano Boost committed onto Smurf. He's trying to win this fight for them. Nevix with his self-destruct is getting huge amounts of value, and Smurf now just battering these players around. And he has found a kill onto Custa. Not too bad. In the back line, Sleepy did end up going down. And Shock looks like they've won this one out. They are going to be able to kill Space as well. They do get the recap. That was critical. And now they've got one last chance of trying to get this round under their belt. If they do it, I mean, it's still plausible for them to get this reverse sweep going, but Right now, all Valiant have to do is recap it once and hold on to it, and that's it. The California Cup going their way.
And it was so easy for them to recapture with the triple tank, triple support. They did it every single time without any resistance. So why have they swapped off now? Valiant going for this composition that we've seen a couple
What
of
are
times.
those shots, KariV?
KariV is hitting everything though. Maybe this is why they swapped. KariV's a god on McCree.
Oh my god, he did not miss a single shot there. babybay forced to back off, and now we see the Savage Trap being used again. Space! Oh my goodness, 2 kills. babybay and Moth out of here. He gets the kill as well. KariV onto Sinatraa. I think that's it, Josh. I think that might be curtains as the overtime ticks down. Valiant, if they finish off these final players, there you have it. Valiant have claimed their position. There you go. The California Cup going their way.